me. Okay, welcome to the third series in the Hui Jing Talks to Her Friends session of Global Diversity CFP Day. For those of you who are just joining us, because this stream has been ongoing for the past 3 hours, this is going to be a chat with Thai, who gave a very, very great talk earlier. If you missed it, okay, don't worry, we'll put it on YouTube later, but you missed it. But it's okay, we will talk with Thai about a lot of things. We'll talk about his experience as a conference organizer, maybe talk a bit about his amazing talk just now about his experience as a speaker himself, and maybe a bit about the Thai developer community. So welcome Thai. Thank you for joining us this
Hello.
afternoon. Could you please introduce yourself again for the people who didn't
Okay.
want to talk just now?
Okay. So my name is Thai, and I come from Thailand. Mm, yeah, I do like web development stuff, and I like occasionally give talks, and I'm like right now I'm trying to like start a YouTube channel, producing videos, things like that.
Everybody, you heard it here first. When Thai starts his YouTube channel, please subscribe. Subscribe, like, hit the notification button. I've watched too many YouTube videos. They always say this at the end, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So as per how it went with our previous two organizers, we have to talk about COVID. So you are currently based in Thailand, in Bangkok, right? I
Yeah,
was wondering if
that's
you
right.
could share with all of us, audience, how's it like in Thailand?
Hmm. I think in Thailand, uh, I think things are a bit like more normal, right? Like we still have like social distancing. Everyone has to wear the mask while outside. Previously, when there was like a lot of outbreak, uh, restaurants have to close down and like only offer take homes. And there's even like curfews, like we cannot go out after like 10 p.m. things like that. So the economy is like struggling a bit, but as the number of infections decrease, things get better and rules are relaxed. And now I think we can go outside and socialize as normal, but we just have to be careful. Yeah,
Ah, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
yeah.
So in terms of uh, because a lot of people have like started to work remotely. Is that your experience as well? Are you working from home?
Mm. Yeah, I'm working mostly from my place. So invested in a like home office setup. Yeah, and I right now I think going to the office is like optional. Like if you're lonely, you can go to the office, something like
Oh,
that.
okay. That's not bad. That's not bad. I think like working from home all the time is also a bit weird. I feel I have an international team, and a lot of the people I actually never met in person. So I always tell them like, I don't know if you're real or not. I just trust that you are. You could be a robot, but I cannot tell. I've never seen you. Um, so that being said, happy to hear that things in Thailand are getting better. Hopefully, the rest of the world will also start to get better. So as you have shared with us in your amazing talk earlier, uh, you spoke at JSCom Asia twice. You attended 3 times. You are one of our favorite speakers. We're always very happy to see
Oh,
you, and in fact, the
oh,
entire
thank
Thai
you.
contingent. It's always very fun to see like groups of people who don't live in Singapore fly in to attend JSCom Asia. So always very excited. But last year 2020, you were also involved in organizing JS Bangkok, and
Mm,
my understanding is that JS Bangkok is the first time that it's JS Bangkok, but there were like there was a previous also like front end conference that became
yeah.
JS Bangkok. So I was wondering if you could share a bit more about JS Bangkok and like how you why you wanted to get involved, or like your overall involvement.
I see. So, as you've seen from the video, there is like the conference called React Bangkok. So that's how it all started. So the React Bangkok is like it's kind of like a brand. So we run both small meetups and then a big conferences. So it starts like 1.0.0. Small meetups get like a minor version. So it's 1.1, 1.2, and then when we do a big conference, we like bump the major version. So React Bangkok 2.0.0, React Bangkok 3.0.0. But when we prepare, like as we like discuss about React Bangkok 3, we decided that okay, this is going to be our last one. Beyond that, we'll go beyond React and then beyond Thailand. So the next big conference after React Bangkok 3 will be like an international one, and it's going to be a big one. So yeah, it's like 4 years in the making, like the JavaScript Bangkok. So yeah, for as for why I want to get involved, I think well, I think I just like sharing and I want to meet like-minded people. Yeah, I think it's fun. It's fun to organize that. It keeps me doing it year after year.
That's great. I think you covered a lot in JSCon in your earlier talk. So again, I'm just making everyone who didn't watch it just now regret their life choice. So yeah, that I think I find it very amazing that you're doing Sember for conference. So I'm like the developer thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So similar to when I was talking to Son about language, right? JS Bangkok was also a bilingual conference, and you all did it a bit
Correct.
differently. But again, I was also in attendance, and they were both English and Thai talks. So
Yes.
I also felt it was very well done, and so I was wondering if you could share a bit more about how the conference prepared for that.
Hmm. So first, I think we have the captions. We have live captions for we consider Thai people. So some of Thai people they may not be fluent in English. So if they have the captions to read, then it may help them understand. So that's the first part. Um, I saw that in JSConf Korea and Japan, they have they have captioning, right? So I went to JSConf Japan and then I approached the staff and then I asked like, what captioning service do you use? And yeah, it was like white code captioning. So I brought that back and tell the organizing team they like made the arrangement and stuff. We so we have the captioning for Thai people. Then the next part is for the international, for the non-Thai people, and there is like I study in an international program and I learned a lesson from that. So in an international program, the instructors they are forced to teach in Thai, but most of the student and most of the speaker, most of the instructors, they are Thai and they are not fluent in English, and in the end, it's really hard to understand lecture. So I decided that okay, let's allow Thai speakers to speak Thai if they want, and then we'll translate the talks into English. And I go like attend churches and I listen to sermons, and I have like a really short attention span. So what I usually do is like i I live translate the church message from Thai to English in my head just to keep my attention, just to keep like yeah, so that I don't lose track, so that can stay concentrated on the message. And so I use that. I decided to give it a shot. So every Thai talk in that conference, I'm translating it from Thai to English, and then uh, the the captioner caption it on the screen. And finally, there's like this companion app that you used when you go to order food, things like that. So I went to like every store in the that we have partnered. I took a photo of the menu and then like make sure that's all English text, things like that. So these are some ways. But yeah, I got a lot of ideas and from like JSConf, Japan, Korea, although I haven't attended. Yeah.
Yes, everybody, I want to emphasize again, Thai was the one who did all the translations live and in person. So amazing job, Thai. Wow, I realized that this is an event where like I think it's the most number of uh folks from different regions who are on this event. We all happen to speak English and one other language, so it's really interesting. I feel, and yeah, like I also realized that it was very friendly for those of us who couldn't speak Thai. In terms of like what you mentioned, right? When we were going to order food, so the conference kind of partnered with some F&B establishments in the same building. So like for lunch, we went out to those places, and it was perfectly fine because we already knew what was on the menu. So again, this is something I feel like every time we go to a place where we don't speak the language and there are these types of things, it really makes the conference experience very positive, I feel. Like it makes us feel very welcomed. So again, JS Bangkok was an amazing job. uh, so it's time to talk about the speaker selection process. So
Speaker
was
section.
any
Uh,
different from all the other conferences who have shared, or how did you all go about CFP and speaker selection?
yeah. So being on the speaker selection team, like we all have like this kind of responsibility not to like disappoint the audience. So basically, we want to choose the proposals that I know that would be really great for the conference. So when I went to JustConf Japan, I met Thomas there, and then I asked him about how did he choose the proposals in like a big list. Then he told me like three words. He said informative, inspiring, entertaining. He said that if a talk has all of these three, then that would be great. That would be perfect. But if not, try to make sure that it has at least two of them. That's what I heard out. I didn't know if I recounted accurately. And most CFPs they have like two separate fields. So one for the elevator pitch where the audience will see, and another one for the description where we will see. And when I read the submission, where okay, I have this range of how well the talk will turn out. So if the description is vague, then I have no idea if it will be a good if it will be good or not. Like even if the talk is good, I will have a harder time deciding whether to pick that talk or not
Mm,
compared to a more detailed proposal that I can make decisions more easily. Like the range is like more narrow, mm, and it will be like less of a gamble. So yeah, as an organizer, I would like to know what we're signing up for, what we're showing to our audience. So I recommend like when doing CFP, try to be detailed, like as detailed as possible. And for the majority of the sessions in JavaScript Bangkok, we use anonymous CFP. So we don't know who the speaker is until we like either accept or reject the speaker. And then sometimes the proposal has the links in it and we avoid clicking it because when we click it, we know who the speaker is, and then that's a bias. And from what I saw, a lot of speakers have a really good blog. They're very easy to follow and they would make a great talk. But that content is not in the submission. So that that's one downside for anonymous CFP. I cannot leverage like my existing network. So as I sent my rejection letter, I got an email and it was from Li Hao, the first speaker. Yeah, and I look at his proposal. I was like, oh, I met him several times in Singapore, like 2018. I'm not sure, but 2019 for two times. He's doing Babel. He's doing Svelte. He's got this great blog, but I did not see that in the proposal. So, yeah, we have about 200 of them, and we have only 16 slot. So I have to send a lot of rejection letter. That's the hardest part for me. So I include that if you would like feedback on the submission, yeah, feel free to ask. I will try my best to answer. And I got about 10 inquiries for feedback. So I try to answer of them. And about a month later, Li Hao sent me a message like, hey, he got accepted into JS Heroes from the submission. So that one message like really made my day. So yeah.
oh, I think this is amazing. I think this is amazing. Everything I did not plan this. I did because I don't think Lee Hao mentioned. Did he mention that it was he didn't? He just said a conference organizer. Oh, turns out it was your top. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I rejected. Oh,
No, but no, I think
but yeah.
this just emphasizes the point. This is such an amazing story. Speaking of story, I think the way you structured your talk previously, it was a story, and that was a very, I think that's something to note for folks who again are new to this, and are not sure how to even structure a talk. I think the storytelling part of it makes it very interesting. a, I mean, sometimes it might be hard to make a technical talk like a story, yes, but there's always like certain bits that will make the talk more interesting if you kind of insert a bit of, especially if it's a very very technical talk, right? Sometimes a bit of story in that. It doesn't have to be the whole thing a story. A little bit always helps. But the fact that Lee Hao mentioned this from an applicant point of view, and you are saying this from an organizer point of view, it's that let, like you mentioned, you had 200 submissions. Someone earlier said that they had about 300. So it's a lot. It's a lot of submissions, limited
Yeah.
slots. So one of the ways that you could stand out is to like let us know what we are going to put on stage as detailed as possible. Like, don't hold back. You can hold back in the elevator pitch part because oh, I must make it exciting. But the part where they ask for your top extract, like just go into detail as much as you can. Definitely a big plus. So I think this point has been iterated by every conference organizer I've interviewed so far. That was, yes, very good. Oh, this is so, I did not plan any of this, everybody, but there's a magical link. It's because Southeast Asian people kind of know each other. Oh, excellent. Um, yeah, okay, so that was very insightful. Thank you for sharing all that. And okay, also this part of the talk, we also have a conversation we also have to have. It's about the tech community in Thailand.
Hmm.
So I think those of people who don't live in Thailand, okay, we all know Bangkok is the main city, but I'm curious about tech, right? Like, and I ask the same question to everybody: is are all the tech jobs, are all like the developers congregated in Bangkok, or are there other places in Thailand where tech is a thing?
So we have most of the developers community they are in Bangkok, but we also have like in Chiang Mai as well. Yeah.
Oh.
So we have like sometimes like it was 2019 and we once organized a hackathon called Hackatrain. So it's like a hackathon on a train, like the train from Bangkok to Chiang Mai. It is like about 15 hours and it's a one-way trip. So once you arrive at Chiang Mai, you have to come back to Bangkok by yourself. And when we planned the event, I got an inspiration from like the Dev Fest in Singapore, the Dev Fest Asia from 2016, like, if I remember. It's like a week full of like tech meetups and like JSConf is part of that festival, right? And then people around the world can go and visit Singapore, and for a full week they would like immerse themselves in the tech scene because there are like meetups going everywhere. Yeah, so I suggested the organizing team like, hey, maybe we can try something like that as well. So people from Bangkok, after they bought a train and arrive at Chiang Mai, they have like a week, like a few days of tech events and before they go travel and come home. Yeah, so I think it's a nice place to, I think in Thailand it's like quite a nice place to for a tech conference. Most are in Bangkok, but Chiang Mai,
Mm.
I think I really like that city as well.
So from what you're saying, like most of the conferences and meetups also happen in Bangkok, right? Like that's
Yeah,
mostly where it is.
that's right.
So how about like in terms of like tech jobs? So let's say maybe I'm not from Bangkok, right? I'm from somewhere else. I'm from Chiang Mai. I'm from Krabi even, and I want to get a job as a developer. Do I have to be in Bangkok? Like, do I have to move?
Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Uh,
I don't have much information on this. Sorry.
it's okay. No,
Yeah.
it's okay. But I guess I guess that question is also a bit outdated to us today because now almost most companies are allowing us to work from home these days. I mean, I think before COVID, it wasn't that common as I don't think, especially unless you're working for a foreign company, right? A lot of like local companies tend not to want us to work remote, but now that has changed. So maybe that's an interesting thing that came out of this whole pandemic. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So one other thing that we I think is worth chatting about is how because you are also a community organizer, right? Is there anything you want to share, like as someone who organizes meetups and other things, like how to encourage people who've never spoken before to kind of take that first step? Again, this is the same question I ask everyone, right? But like, what are
I
your
see.
thoughts?
Yeah. I think I mentioned some of it in the video, like
Yeah.
volunteer to help for events and speak at bar camps. And now, just in time, we have Clubhouse in iOS
Oh.
for Clubhouse. Yeah, and I find myself like really addicted to it, and I think it is a great place to like start speaking. So you
Ah.
join a random circle or you host your own session. You bring your friend to talk, and maybe someone like will hop in, like will drop in and listen to what you're saying. And I think that one can also be like a great start. I mean, I spend a lot of time in Clubhouse, like instead of preparing my talk. So yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
this is interesting. This is interesting because Clubhouse, for people who don't know what Clubhouse is like this new, it's voice only, right? So it's like a
yeah.
voice
It's voice only.
only social media kind of thing. It's very new and it's kind of been people have been spreading around because it's like invite only. This is interesting because I have an account. I never used it. But so what you're saying is that you can start a room just chatting with anyone and anyone can just join in? Is that how it
Yeah,
works?
yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, this
Mm,
is interesting. I guess it
yeah.
it could be it
Maybe I
could be
can share some.
another it could be another way to do um like a meetup on a different there are so many platforms, right? Wait, are you sharing your screen? Do you
Oh
want
yeah,
me to
yeah.
share?
I'm sharing. Yeah, I'm sharing my
Yes,
screen. So
please, please.
maybe you can see. So I made this website. Like, is this a list of Clubhouse events that is happening in Thailand? So in in bar camps, you have this schedule, right? So when people go to Clubhouse, what they always say is, "Hey, this is actually like bar camp, but it's 24 hours and it's online." So
Ooh.
I made this kind of calendar, and this is the events just today. This all of these events are happening today, and it's been like this for like almost 2 weeks now since we have this. Yeah, so there's always like talks. There are like 10 talks happening simultaneously in Clubhouse, things like that.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. Introducing new technology to community organizers. You can give Clubhouse a try if you want. Okay. This has been such a great conversation, Thai. Thank you so much for your
Yeah,
amazing talk and also jumping on here live to have this chat with us. Yeah. Okay. So want to say Global Diversity CFP Day wants to thank you for joining us, and we'll talk
thank
again
you.
soon. Yeah, it's really nice to see you, even though I can't meet you in person. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.